Hello, and welcome to Twin Study After Dark. I'm your host, Sallie, joined by my co-host, Katie. We're identical twin sisters. We invite you to join us as we investigate our similarities and differences in all things life has to offer. Hello, and welcome to Twin Study After Dark. I'm your host, Sallie.
And I'm your other host, Katie.
We are welcoming everyone in today on this beautiful day. Katie is going in blind. She has no idea what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because last week we said we needed to start talking more about paranormal again. And sure enough, we have some updates about this room and our lamp.
Yeah.
So for anyone that's been listening to Twin Study for a couple seasons now, you know that about a year ago, I got Katie a lamp at a hotel. I guess you'd call it like garage sale, but it's funny. The lady gave it to me for free. So this lamp was given to me for free from a hotel and it's an old hotel, like probably built in the early 1900s. And she bought the hotel and it came furnished and she was giving away some of the things. Well, as soon as the lamp entered our house, or Katie's house, I should say, our studio.
Yeah.
Like her son kept waking up in the middle of the night saying that he saw shadow figures. Weird things were happening with like your heater, right? Your AC and your electric or something. Wasn't it your AC at first?
No, it was the fire.
Oh, the
alarm.
fire alarms.
Yeah.
Yes. So we were like, we think there's an energy attached to it. And we would joke anytime we had disruptions in the recording of the podcast that it was the spirit attached to the lamp. And the lamp would sit right next to Katie where she records. Okay, so Katie decided that the lamp's energy was too much one day. And this happened like a week ago.
Yeah.
And I told her, I was like, well, you know what? You should just put it in mom and dad's house because mom really wants this lamp. Okay, so we actually just had a little malfunction again. We just saged this room. So I'm hoping the energy is gone. But see, we are like firm believers of this. Anyway, Katie gets rid of the lamp. She puts it outside for like the trash people to come pick up or whatever. It just happens that she puts it out at a night that it's like thunderstorming and it's like very dramatic.
So also, the trash person didn't even take it.
They didn't take it?
No, the first time, like it just sat out there for days by the road.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally it was taken like a few days after the fact.
Oh my
but
God.
I feel like you're missing a pretty important part of why we think this lamp is haunted. But before this hotel or inn was an inn, it was a hospital, a center for women, right?
Yeah, it was an abortion clinic.
It was an abortion clinic. So Sallie totally forgot that piece of this. And like abortion clinic, it circa early 1900s.
Back in the day. Yeah, so across the street was the I guess it wasn't a hospital back then, but it was like the doctor's office.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was this little building that they made for women who had to get procedures across the street.
Okay, so again, I think there's some justification that this lamp might have some kind of ghosty attached to it. But also weird stuff was just happening. Since I've gotten rid of the lamp, okay, so the first night, my son slept all the way through the night. He hasn't done that in, I'm not kidding, probably a year. He always wakes up in the middle of the night.
Since the lamp got here.
And he since has slept every night in his room since the lamp's been gone all the way through the night. So odd coincidence that removing the lamp has caused us all to get better sleep. We're not waking up in the middle of the night, specifically around 3:20 in the morning. And then on top of that, the first night that the lamp was out by the side of the road, there was tapping on his window, which faces the street where the lamp was.
Oh,
and
that's creepy.
It was super creepy because I was like, what is that? It sounded like it was like hitting the garbage can out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it sounded like that noise over and over and over again. And I couldn't help but feel as though the spirit is real. The spirit is 100% definitely real.
So anyway, after Katie gets rid of the lamp, which I don't think she did it in the best way possible, I think it was a little disrespectful, if not a lot. This ghostie is not happy. We had an interview with an amazing guest I can't wait to share with you guys, but we have never had so much trouble with our internet.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't get through a sentence with this guest without it going out. And it was like, what the heck? And then specifically Katie's connection, who sits exactly next to me, she wasn't even part of the conversation. Like we couldn't hear her voice. The connection was going in and out. It was terrible. It was honestly mortifying. Like I felt
We
so
felt
bad
so
for the
bad.
guest,
Yeah.
but thankfully she's agreed to come back on and we'll re-record probably at my house just
Yeah.
to be safe. But I was just like, okay, this is crazy. We've never had this much. And there was nothing wrong. We had perfect internet connection, but it just kept like going off.
Yeah. So all in all, we have saged the room this morning.
But the lights do keep flickering.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
But Katie didn't have sage, so I brought sage over. She opened the windows. She said a little spiel. So we're hoping the energy has left, but I really do think I think that the spirit was kind of giving into its surroundings, but it was affecting like you and your son's sleep and stuff. But yeah, I don't know where spirit goes once the lamp is probably in a dumpster somewhere, which is kind of sad, but that was the fate of the lamp, unfortunately.
That was the fate of the lamp.
I know. Mom was so mad. She's like, I told you I wanted it. And I was like, Katie said that she does not want anyone to have
anybody
this.
in the family to have this lamp. But I mean, maybe do you want to, what are we talking about today?
Okay. So I get to choose the topic today.
Okay. Also, guys, it is first thing in the morning. So I don't have any makeup on.
I know. No, well, it's fine. Because we planned on the recording of the interview that went terrible and I feel terrible about, we're recording at like 8 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And we are a little snoozy, but I think this is going to be a fun conversation because I get to pick it.
Okay.
Do you have a guess what it's about?
No, I have no idea.
Oh, really?
Oh, kids? Is it about kids?
Yay!
Oh my goodness. You're so predictable.
I know. But she wasn't wanting to have this conversation because she was like, I don't have much to say about it. But it's my choice. This is how it's going to go.
Okay.
And there's a couple discussions with it. So today we're gonna discuss all things babies.
Okay.
And the cool thing about this is there's a lot of debatable topics when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, I was working out yesterday and my trainer's wife is pregnant. And I was just thinking, oh my God, I really want to go up to her and just be like, oh my God, you look so cute. But then in my head, I was like, no, people don't comment on that anymore. You're not supposed to comment on bodies. But at the same time, I really wanted to say it because she looked so cute pregnant.
I think you could just say,
so wait, this is a debatable topic.
No.
This is the first of the baby debatable topics.
Mm-hmm.
Are you allowed to say something to pregnant women about their physical appearance or not? Because I remember when I was pregnant, I actually liked it when people were like, you look so cute. I mean, but some people don't like that. Some people don't like the attention.
I feel like I've definitely complimented pregnant women because there is a glow. I think that they become beautiful in a very specific way. And maybe if you compliment something specific, it's not offensive. Your hair is looking amazing or something. You know how my hair got really nice when I was pregnant?
Yeah.
And then it all falls out afterwards.
So I think where you can go wrong probably is, which aren't necessarily wrong, because I liked some of these comments too, when people would come up to you and they'd be like, oh my God, you're so tiny. You know what I mean?
I don't know, because that offends people too.
No, that's what I said. I said, those are the comments I think that can go wrong.
Yeah, I wouldn't comment on the size.
Yeah, I don't think that people should comment on the size because I liked it when I was pregnant when people were like, oh my God, you're so tiny, because you're like, thanks. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I have heard friends of mine say, oh, am I not big enough for 35 weeks along?
It gets in
their head where they're like, oh my God, is there something wrong because I'm not big enough?
This is definitely first mom problems.
Yeah.
I feel like second pregnancy, nobody cares this much, I feel like.
I don't know. I mean, neither of us have gone through a second pregnancy.
I know, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the friends I know that have multiple children. I feel like they get way more relaxed with their each pregnancy.
Oh, really?
They're not as in their head about, oh, am I supposed to be a certain size? Or I mean, I never got the comment I was too small. I always got the comment is there more than one in there?
Or they're going to come early.
Or they're going to come early. You're so big that they're definitely going to come early.
So I think mentioning a woman's size is not.
It's never okay.
So we agree that that's not okay.
Yeah.
But saying a compliment about oh my God, you're so cute. Can you do that?
I think you can say you look so good. You look so beautiful. I think that you can comment generically. I also think that I was never offended when people touched my stomach, but people get really offended
Really?
when people. But then I think about it, I'm like, I am kind of touchy feely. Like I give people
You are a
hugs.
touchy-feely. See, I don't want people touching me.
Okay, see,
No,
I never really, not, I mean, unless it was someone creepy, which never happened. I was never
yeah, like, can
offended
you imagine,
when
like,
my friends touched my belly.
an older man coming up to you and being like, Katie,
Oh,
like, your
I
belly?
honestly felt like when I was pregnant, I got treated the best I've ever been treated in my entire life.
Well, that's kind of the sad thing. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people give you compliments when you're pregnant, like, oh my God, you look so cute, or you're shining or glowing. And then, like, the week after you come back to work, and everyone's just like,
Oh, you're a
she looks
regular
like a
person
wet
again.
mop. Yeah.
No,
Like,
also,
nobody says you
you're
look
just
good.
like, you're so special. Like, I remember flying when I was pregnant, and I mean, every single person I ran into offered to help me in some way. And I was like, why doesn't this happen when I'm not pregnant?
You know what though? I think that I think it's deserved. Honestly, when you're pregnant, I truly think it's deserved. You deserve to be treated like an Egyptian queen.
Oh, totally.
Like
I agree.
100%. But I think that grace should go and continue on to the first like 2 years of being a mom,
Yeah.
because that's when you need it. Like when you bring the baby home and you're just like torn apart, your body's torn apart,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not getting those compliments anymore, and all you want is like to feel good again and feel like yourself. So I
Yeah.
feel like we need to do a better job of like continuing that, like, I'm not saying like baby the mom, but in a way, like, keep hyping her up and keep making sure she feels special, because it is so drastic
Yeah.
from the time you get like give birth to like afterward. You really are just like totally not like people aren't noticing and taking care of you as much.
Yeah. And everything, and we'll get back into the conversation because I think you want to talk about having kids. But
Mm-hmm.
I just saw this too. One of Nate's friends is postpartum right now, and she does a really good job of documenting it and posting about it. But one of her recent videos talked about how she wasn't, like, the weight wasn't dropping just because of breastfeeding.
Mm.
And I was like referencing like everybody is so different in postpartum that we can't make those generalizations like, oh, if you breastfeed you're going to lose the weight so fast. um and I thought that was a very accurate, but like B, like we're learning all those things like in real time. Like nobody told me that. And then I
Mm.
didn't lose the weight until after I stopped
Actually,
breastfeeding.
most of my friends are the same.
Really? Like
Yeah.
I was holding
And
on to the weight because I was
yeah.
breastfeeding, which
Hmm.
is like nobody told me that either.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with like breastfeeding and not breastfeeding. Like we support every woman's choice to do
Totally.
whatever she wants.
Whatever, a fed baby is a fed baby.
Exactly. And like a healthy mama is a healthy mama no matter what. You don't need to drop the weight right away. You know what I mean? There's such
You
a
don't,
pressure.
and like, yeah, there's so much pressure. Yeah.
And you don't need to drop the weight ever.
If you don't
know
want
what I mean?
to, then don't do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I always tell people like something that I think we were really lucky to have is our mom was really comfy and cuddly.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like a vivid memory of like when I would lay my head on her and stuff.
Oh,
That's so
I mean,
special.
I have like the feeling of my head resting on my mom's hip memorized.
Yes.
And it was like cozy, comfy.
Yes.
And that's, I mean, I
just
do
like
think
feels
that
so safe.
my son feels like I'm a comfortable place to land.
Yeah, it's so cute. So I don't think women should feel any pressure about that. But no, I was just okay. So I wanted to talk about the comments on that. Like, if you can comment on people's body, I think we both agree just stay away from like the weight commentary. And
I also think though, you have to be genuine.
you
because
have to be genuine.
if you're the type of
Yeah.
person that throws out compliments on the regular, like, then yeah, continue complimenting.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody who never does it, but like feels like you have to because this person's pregnant, like
Yeah.
maybe just don't.
And also, like, if you're just saying something just to say something, I feel like people can tell if you're being authentic or not. It's
For
like,
sure.
actually, just don't tell me anything. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, you don't need to say anything.
For sure.
So another thing I was gonna talk about would be like, how do you feel about? Because I know this gets a lot of backlash, like online gender reveals and like pregnancy announcements online, because I guess those are different conversations. Which one should we do first?
I mean, I like gender reveals, but I think like I say that knowing that like they've gotten way too extreme and harmed.
But because they've
like,
harmed the environment.
Haven't they like burnt down forests?
I think so.
Yeah.
So some people go all out for them.
I like a nice humble gender reveal.
I do too. I don't want to. I can't hate it. I just like. I feel like I'm such an emotional person whenever I watch one. Even when I'm like, oh, they're a cringy couple or something. Like I'm getting the ick. when you see their emotions when they find out if it's a boy or a girl, like it brings me to tears.
I like when they have other children and the children get to reveal the gender.
That's so
That is
cute.
the cute. I watch those videos all the time. But
Yeah.
then I watch, there are like horrible cringy ones where like the guy gets mad because it's not a boy.
Oh God.
And then it's like red flag.
That would be how my son would be. Honestly, it's crazy. It is insane. And Katie knows I wanted to talk about babies, but probably the last year, for the first like 6 months of the year, I was really like set on, okay, we're done at 4. This is our family. It's perfect. We had trouble getting pregnant. We've gone through the adoption process twice now. And that's a whole nother thing, which yesterday, somebody asked me if we were still signed up for foster care. I was like, we never were doing foster care. That's another conversation. Yeah. People just
assume.
They don't understand adoption. We need to have a whole discussion about that a different day. Specifically like private adoption versus foster care. There are big differences.
Yeah.
But anyway, the last probably 6 months of the year, I've in my mind been like, I think it has something to do with the twins. They're in a really good spot where they're getting really easy. And they're my youngest, and they're like 2 years and some change. They're not doing like full-blown tantrums yet. They're just like really cute and funny. And I've been thinking, maybe we do need one more. Like maybe our family's not complete yet. And my son, and we don't really mention it to our kids because
yes, you do.
Do you think so?
I think you do.
Not really.
I feel like you've asked Scott before if he wanted a baby brother or sister.
Oh, well, I have asked my kids if they want more siblings.
Yeah.
I have. But I haven't asked him, like, I haven't specifically been like, it'd be nice to have another boy.
Oh, no, you wouldn't, like, specify.
I would never do that.
Yeah.
But the last 6 months, he's been begging for a brother.
Oh.
And it's really sad. And I tell him every time, I'm like, you have KK's son. I don't know if you want me to say his name. He's like a brother. You see him all the time. He's your brother. And he's like, no, I want a brother in the house. I want a brother in the house. I want a little brother. I want a baby brother. And now he'll bring it up. I'm not kidding you, at least twice a day. Like very, very, very often. Yesterday we went to work out and there was a little boy that was a baby. And he said, Mom, I want a boy that's a baby. And like in front of everyone. And I was like, oh, honey, but like, you can't choose. Like if you get a boy or a girl, and it might end up being a girl, but like he is like begging for a brother. So I don't know if there's anyone else going on, like if anyone else is going through that right now, how are you handling it? Because to me, I'm just like, I know, buddy, I know that'd be really cool. But we're so lucky we have all our sisters, and like you're the boy of the house. But he really is like mentioning a boy a lot.
I know though, when I was a kid, I really wanted an older brother.
Yeah, I did too.
And I think we can't like get older sibling. Yeah. But like I remember like really feeling like something was missing.
And like maybe you had it in a past life or something.
Yeah, and I feel like we probably expressed that to Mom at some point. Like I wish we had an older brother.
It's so cute. So like
so it's normal for a kid to wish for something that they're not going to get.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, me and Adam, we were talking, and like I mentioned earlier, we don't get pregnant the fastest. To get pregnant with Scott, I think it was like a year and a half total.
Yeah.
And that we were young. We were like 29. But we've been talking because he has his surgery coming up. Because the first part of the year, I was like, I'm sure we're done. So he scheduled a vasectomy. Well, that's coming up next month. And we both have been asking for signs from the universe. And the first day we asked for a sign from the universe, there was a red cardinal just hanging out on our back patio. And now there's a couple. Now it's a mom and a dad. And we're pretty sure they have a nest on the big tree out back because they're there every day. So we asked for a sign, and specifically I asked for a red cardinal, and like literally a red cardinal has made its nest in our backyard. And one day Adam came down to eat breakfast, and he said the cardinals were eating outside on the table, like right out by our back patio. And then as soon as he walked Scott upstairs to go get his video games, Scott sits down and goes, I just really want a boy. And he's like, oh my God. We both feel like we're just like getting signs that say yes rather than no. And so it's
well,
really
what happens if it's a girl?
and then it's a girl.
I mean, I feel like.
But then, yeah, Scott's still going to say, I want a boy, you know?
There's a piece of me that's like, if you're asking for signs from the universe, you already have your answer.
That's okay. So that's another thing that I've really, and we've talked about this on this podcast. Usually I'm a huge risk taker. Usually I don't have any fear in my mind. It's just like this, and I'm going to say this. I say this humbly, and I hope people can relate to this. I truly feel like we have the perfect family. To bring in somebody else to my perfect family is scary. Like, I don't want to mess things up. I don't want to mess up dynamics but my fear has been overtaking my decision a lot more lately.
Mm-hmm.
My fears have been like controlling me. And that's not like me. Like, I was talking to a friend and she's like, Sallie, you're not like this. Like, usually you're so optimistic, like it's going to be for the best. But my fears have been controlling me. And I've really been like kind of trying to tell myself lead based on faith rather than fear.
Well, they say that because so if you have a gut feeling you're going to have another child, it will come without fear, and that's how you know you can trust your gut. If it comes with fear, that's just an intrusive thought. So you're supposed to just like discard it. Like,
well, I think Mel Robbins, she said that your initial idea, right? It lasts for 5 seconds, maybe 5 seconds without fear coming in.
Yeah.
So you need to go off impulse sometimes. Like sometimes you need to be like, okay, this is the idea, but if you give it time for fear to set in, that's gonna get you in a cycle of like me, like it's been months and we just can't decide because I'm letting fear take over.
Yeah, I think that you're thinking about it too much. I really think because you've had trouble getting pregnant, and I've said this to you before, I think you should just, not do anything to protect yourself from getting pregnant for the next month or two. See if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, it wasn't meant to be.
That's kind of where we've landed. Honestly, I don't know if he'll go through with his surgery or not, because I think we're both in a place now where we actually are pretty sure, like, if it happened, we'd be so thankful and excited.
Yeah.
But
and you want to do it, like, you want to have a pregnancy, right?
No, I mean, I'm open to. I've always been open to everything.
Okay.
But like, I was gonna ask this question: do you still get baby fever?
No.
I was wondering. No. Okay, because I was wondering. I asked a group of like 5 women, and all of them were like, "Hell no, 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 no." And all these moms had gone through multiple pregnancies.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is it because I've only gone through one that I still get baby fever? Or is it just because, like, I just freaking love babies? I don't know what it is, but I have baby fever so strongly. And sometimes I'm like, oh, is it because I didn't go through multiple pregnancies? So, like, pregnancy is really hard. I would argue adoption is actually equally harder. But that was just my experience. However, could be controversial about that. But
I wish
sometimes I wonder, because like I didn't go through multiple. Maybe if I had gone through multiple, I'd be like, no, I don't want it anymore. Like, I don't want to do it again.
Yeah, I think sometimes I go back and forth between wanting another child, but I do not go back and forth between wanting to get pregnant again. Like, I don't want to be pregnant again. I hated being pregnant. It was miserable. I love the outcome, but like that to me is like the ultimate sacrifice. I know, and like this is just me speaking my opinion. I know there's going to be haters out there that are like, what the hell is she talking about?
I know everything we can say can be controversial, so I just want to reiterate that these are our personal opinions, and you are allowed to make your own personal opinion based on your family and you.
If I got pregnant again because my partner and I decided we wanted to have one more child, I would expect the world in return. Like, that to me is like the biggest sacrifice a woman can do for their family. And I just like, it would be so hard to do, but like, of course the outcome is the gift.
So my question is, like, do you think that lots of people don't have baby fever because like pregnancy is just really traumatic and they're done with it? Because I was asking some people, how do you know when you're done having kids? Like, does the wanting for kids go away eventually? And I was in a group with like mostly women and a couple guys, and one of the guys answered and he goes, I knew it was time because my wife was like, I can't do it again. Like, it was her decision because it's her body. My family's not made that way. So, like, that's the question that I'm like, I just don't know if we got pregnant or if another adoption situation came up, which we're not actively seeking. But would I be done afterward, or would I still want it?
I don't know.
Like, do I have an addiction?
But I think you do. But I also think that it's not unnormal. I see a lot of people with like larger families, and it's like the more the merrier, you know, like they love having like their large family unit. And I've seen the beauty in having a large family unit as well. Yeah. Like if you can handle it and like you enjoy pregnancy, even if you don't, if you feel supported through pregnancy,
that's a big one.
Then like you do it because the outcome is worth it.
Yeah. For me, pregnancy feels exciting.
Like, you handled it very well.
Pregnancy to me feels exciting, feels like really magical. It's stupid. I know you guys probably are rolling your eyes because some people are like, you're putting a false narrative out there. I actually fucking really, really appreciate pregnancy. It's different in these times in Florida because some of the laws have changed and that's a little scary, but like my intuition, like my heart wants to love pregnancy. Do you know what I mean? Like without like letting those fears in.
And maybe that some of that is because it took you longer to get pregnant, because a lot of friends that I know that either had to do IVF or it took longer, they really did take in pregnancy knowing it was a gift. And like we're way more grateful of the experience. Or maybe they just felt like they couldn't complain.
I was gonna say, but you want them to have the freedom to have a shitty pregnancy too. Like even if you go through hardship to get pregnant, like you're allowed to complain about it still. Like it still is hard, you know? I just personally, I didn't have, I mean, it's not that it was easy. I just really loved pregnancy. I don't know.
I was just thinking about this week. The past couple months have just been hell in and out of the home. Like everything is exploding.
You're having a really hard time right now.
But I was like, you know, there's days where you're a parent and you're like, this is so hard. This is the hardest job I'll ever have. And I just felt like I was failing, and I was walking at work and like my mind was drifting, and I was just thinking about what was it like when I really wanted to be pregnant, because I really wanted to be pregnant when I became pregnant with my son, and I was like trying to take myself back to those memories in that moment, and it's almost too far away to remember like what the hell I was thinking.
That's so funny. We just have such different perspectives. It's insane.
Yeah.
But because I think that like a lot of people go through the fact, I was told this the other day because I was sharing with a friend that like we might be thinking about baby number 5, which sounds excellent. I know it sounds insane, but she was like, Sallie, no. You're almost there. Like you're almost to the sweet spot, the freedom where they'll go and play. Like you almost have your life
like
back.
Sallie hasn't gotten out of diapers yet.
Okay, but like so she was like, you're almost there. Just stick with it. And like my internal response, which I want to hear yours to that, was, no, I've already given in. This is my life. Like this is the life I chose. Like I chose 4 children already. Like this is it for me. And I know that some people think that's like, oh my God, that's so sad. No, that fills my cup. That's it. That's all I want. That's all I wanted in life. I can die happy. Like that is my personal opinion. Yeah. But for some people, they're like, no, we just want to make it to the stage where we have more freedom again. And that I totally get, because I have 100% days like that. But I think you feel that more strongly. Whereas like,
I remember my friend told me that when my son was 3 and he was having really bad temper tantrums, and I still have a scar on my arm from one of them because we went, see it?
Yeah, I know, that's a big scar.
That's from a birthday party that
he had way less tantrums than my son.
He didn't. Yeah, I know he did, but he still had some, and he didn't want to leave a birthday party when he was 3, and he scratched.
Was it his best friends?
It was her.
That'll be funny to say in the future.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was my friend's son.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay,
and she's the one who told me this.
Yeah.
But because her son is a couple years older, but when he was 3, she's like, you are so close. Like he's gonna turn a corner, like, and it's gonna be like the light is right there. These temper tantrums will not last. And she was right. Like, I mean, he's going through something completely different now. So there's like different struggles with every age. But like as far as getting like beat up by your own child, like that phase ended. And I would not go back to it. Like it's so hard to imagine
But
going back to it.
okay, so I have an argument for this. This is
Yeah.
kind of turning into a debate. So this is working out.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, with your first kid, you feel really sensitive to all those things, and you're like, I just want to be over it. I'm done with it. But like now, when we have 4 kids, and we thought the twins would be the last, those tantrums and stuff are super cute. Even when our older kids have tantrums now, because we've seen like the majority of them have passed, like it's so cute when Susie stomps and does. Me and Adam like need to turn around and be like, oh my god, because it's so developmentally, like it's so silly that they're stomping on the ground, and but when you are in it, the thick of it, it seems so serious. I also think when we had the two older ones, we were surrounding ourselves with people that had really high expectations for how our kids should behave in public.
Yeah.
And so we were always like, oh my god, they need to be perfect, they can't act out, they have to eat with a fork, blah blah blah. We have like literally given into the chaos, and anybody who isn't okay with that have left our lives. Now it is just like pure enjoyment.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like your temperament has a lot to do with how much joy you find in it. I
I mean,
think
not every day is
because
joyful. I have
yeah.
plenty, like a lot. Like I joke, like every Thursday I cry.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I always look back. Like I do have a habit of looking back at old videos of my son and being like, "Oh, I miss when he was like that," or "I miss how little and cute and sweet he was." But I do think, and I really believe it when I say it, I do think it gets better every year. Like I'm really enjoying
But the
the kid
hardness doesn't
phase.
go away.
No, it's getting harder. And like
People said it get easier.
who the hell thought kindergarten would be so hard? Like I don't even know what the hell is up with these kids, but they're like
Oh.
violent little spawns of Satan now.
No, oh my god. No,
So
they're little cherubs. They just don't have their brain yet.
yeah,
Like their frontal lobe isn't going to be developed for like 18 more years or whatever.
yeah. I'm looking forward to like I don't even know. I honestly don't. I think it's just like you want to know you did good, and the only way to know you did good is to see your child as an adult like
Yeah.
thriving.
Yeah.
And so it's like a lot of work to maybe be successful but maybe not be.
That's so much pressure.
Yeah.
That is so much pressure, and honestly, I feel like a lot of moms feel that way, where they're like, I just want you to turn out quote unquote normal, or I just want you
I
to
just
be
want
a
you to be
good
happy.
person, or
Like
I just want you to be happy or
yeah.
healthy, or but I do think, again, I think for me with the multiple kids, it actually helped me release that control. It's like you do the best you can, and this is their little life, and it's going to be their big life someday. And you try the best you can, you do everything you can, you love them and teach them as best you can. But like, I think having so many has made me give up control a little bit, where I don't worry about those things anymore. I'm like, if they're going to grow up and hate me, that's fine. If they're going to grow up and move away, that's fine. Like,
yeah. I feel like that, so that too, like because my partner came from a family of 4 kids, I feel like his mom was the same way. Like she always says kids are so resilient, like you're overthinking this. I just think that when you have one, it's like you really feel like
well, it's because you're so afraid to mess up just the
pressure.
one. You
Yeah,
only
because
have
it's
one.
like it's the one. Like, yeah, he needs to like be happy and be okay. And then but if you have multiple, like I've joked about it. I was like, I have to keep him alive. He's my only one. You know, I
Yeah.
joke about that. Obviously,
Yeah.
that's a joke. I hope everybody understands that. But like, I can imagine like with having so many, you're just like, I can't control everything.
You have to give up a power of, like, you can control what you can control. You know what I mean? And you can be supportive, and you can love them and keep them safe. And I think though that makes me so sad though, like that you feel the pressure of with one that it has to be perfect, because I almost think sometimes that can backfire on you too.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I wish that, I hope you get to a place like through therapy or through like just his growth, that you guys can like, you just have faith he's going to turn out to be exactly who he's meant to be.
Yeah.
And his challenges that he's going through is going to be so developmentally appropriate for who he turns out to be. Like, you don't know how it's going to affect him, but what if it affects him to the point where he's like,
Yeah. It's just like part
doing
of,
really positive things with it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
it's just part of his story.
Yeah, but it is so much pressure. It is so much. That's like when you think about the responsibility you have, basically raising new children to become adults in this world. There's nothing that's a bigger pressure.
I think that especially because they're like, unfortunately, and I hate to use this boy mom logic because you're so against hashtag boy mom
Nah, maybe it's because we don't
verbiage,
have enough boys,
but
supposedly.
when I don't know that many good men in my adult life. I know a few good adult men, but the list is much smaller than the good adult women I know. And maybe that's just because I'm a woman, but that's another added pressure. I feel like I can't raise a shitty guy. Like, I have to raise a good, stand up, quality, decent human being who is a man.
But you're putting so much pressure on yourself, and I feel like just through him literally like living with you and observing you and your life and what you've gone through, that's going to teach him more than what you are trying to put pressure on yourself to teach him.
Yeah,
He's Kids are so observant.
true.
So like I think you need to give them some benefit of the doubt that they are smart and observant and they can learn too just by the way that you're living. You don't need to work so hard at it to be like you must do these good choices. I think those will come when he continues to learn from you.
Well, I think that too, having Nate, my partner, and like he has some really great men in his family, and then we have our father, like my and Adam, of course, but like my son has a group of men that like are always leading by example, and like I do hope that that penetrates him somehow,
Penetrates.
like his brain.
Don't
you
use
know?
the word penetrate.
Yeah, like I hope that gets through to him somehow because just observing how they treat people and how they treat women specifically, I hope that like he grows up, I don't know,
I
seeing
know.
that.
I think you cannot underestimate the power of the surroundings you're creating for your children.
Yeah.
These are things that maybe our parents thought of, maybe they didn't. Their parents probably did not think of, because I think people get caught up in how they are perceived in society, the social scene, who they're like, friends with and cool with, and getting along with family, right?
Yeah.
You have put so much work into creating an environment that literally only has strong, respectful, amazing men, women who are very respectful, nice, kind, compassionate, but also like business savvy. Like you're a boss. I mean, and you're not allowing haters and like negative forces or anyone creepy, weird around him. Like I think you've worked really hard to create this environment for him. So trust that that's going to go far too.
True.
We didn't have those protections growing up. We were, I mean, we had more than our parents had, but like that is a big factor.
Yeah, I feel like when we were growing up, there was much more acceptance with like if there's like an angry man in the house, it's like okay, everybody just avoid him, or like
Or
if
like
there's
we're gonna leave, we'll go shopping for the day, or
yeah, or
I
you
mean,
know,
we had a really
but I do think that now I recognize that I think my partner is like the best example of a man. And I'm so happy that my son gets to watch him, day in and day out and like
yeah.
how he reacts to situations and how he treats me. And I hope that like, and how he treats him too.
It's so funny. I think that like I forget what I was reading the other day, but I've noticed this because I've said it about Adam, where I think your partner is similar, where their superpower is actually their it's like their patience and their calmness and their like
Yeah.
but it's like their ability to not need to be in the spotlight kind of. And that's to me like they are such strong men. Like they're so secure. They're like, we're cool, we're gonna take care of things right here, I'm gonna take care of you emotionally, like on the shadow side of things, and you go out and you be free, do what you want, make your choices, blah blah blah. But I think like some men can perceive them and be like, oh, they're not strong, they're not like fiery, and they don't go hunting, and they like
Oh, well,
well,
mine
yours
does.
does, but like aren't like manly because I guess they're a little bit more, I don't know, sensitive or something. I think that is like the strongest part of my spouse. Like I love that he's sensitive, and I love that he's like, I don't know, supportive, and he's not like a guy's guy.
I think it's the support factor, because I think a lot of men lock into the idea of like they have to be the provider.
Mm-hmm.
And we could do a whole episode on that.
Oh, that's
a good
true.
one. But I think that it's like the supporter, like they're the backbone of the house. If they can like keep, and like I hate to put that on men.
And they don't need to be the backbone, because it could be, roles could be reversed, right? Like I could be the backbone,
Yeah.
and he could be the one that is crying in bed every Thursday. But like right now, like for my family, I'm the one that's like hyper emotional, and he is kind of the calm, cool, like he's like the caretaker of me. And then like thankfully he's the caretaker of me and the kids, but like his caretaking of me allows me to take care of my kids.
I think that is okay, this is also controversial.
Yeah.
I think that's the man's responsibility. I think he has to be the caretaker for the adult woman in the house.
And now that I've like obviously gone through pregnancy once, but now that I am a mother, I see it so much, even more now, because you, as a parent, as a mom, you really do need someone who's going to take care of you. And like,
because you're not going to take care of your adult man child, you
Yes,
know, like.
But like, can you, like when we were looking for partners, like back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't looking for somebody who could take care of me.
No, and I mean, I obviously
like, and we don't mean financially. We mean like an emotional shoulder to cry on. Like I was like looking for someone to have fun with,
like a support system.
Yeah, but I was still dating guys who like shouted at me, laughed when I cried, like terrible, you know, like. And I hope that they've evolved and they can be that support for someone.
Yeah, I also think there is a difference too between a man that says that he wants children and then a man who says that he wants to be a dad, because the man who says he wants to be a dad really understands the depth and like what comes along with like that role. And I see that a lot on social media, is like the differences, but it's like a man that wants children is like a girl or a boy or a child who wants a puppy, you know, like, oh, I really want a puppy. But like a person that wants to be a father, they understand like the caretaking that comes with that and every responsibility that comes with that. And I know when I was looking for a partner when I was younger, I did not understand the difference at all.
No, and I don't think that we do a really good job properly getting people ready for that big step either, because there's so much pressure to like have a family and get pregnant. And if you're a man, to like, you know, like have a family, whatever, you know, pass on your lineage or whatever the fuck people like to do.
Yeah.
But I don't think people talk about it. Like they don't have enough like support or older people telling them like, no, when you become a father, it's like your job increases. Like you have so much responsibility. Like you need to take care of your kids. You need to take care of your wife. You need to and she's going to do the same thing. But like, it's not like you just like knock up your wife and she's going to take care of everything, you and the kids now. No, it's like your responsibility grows too, buddy. Like astronomically.
Yeah.
But I think some people are just naturally good at that. But some people need years of self-improvement to get there. And some people never get there.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I was just thinking like my question to our study buddies is, does everybody continue to have baby fever? Is this a normal feeling or not?
Sallie needs reassurance.
I need reassurance. Like, are we going to have another kid and then I'm going to continue with baby fever? Is it supposed to go away at some point?
I think it does. I mean, I don't know. My older adult friend who's in her 50s now told me when she was in her mid-30s, she was having baby fever, and her and her spouse decided not to have children because that was what was best for them. Mm-hmm. But she said that now she can look back and realize it was really like the hormones and everything that was like surging through her body at that age.
Yeah.
Like it was like your last time, like your body's telling you this is it. This is the time.
I've actually thought of that because I always remember hearing when we were young, like sexual awakening for women is like mid-30s. Mm-hmm. And I think about that. I'm like, yeah, I feel like I am more horny lately, and I'm just like, oh, is it like my body being like last chance before perimenopause?
It might, you know? Yeah, no, totally.
But like, I do think it's not. I don't necessarily need it through pregnancy either, and that's. I think honestly,
if somebody called you and was like,
oh my God, no, I'm an anomaly, I would be like, yes, I want the baby, but because I don't approve of people having kids who can't financially support them. Like, when you can't support a child, like, stop having kids. Like, I am very against that. So I'm not being, I think that we are more than able to take on another child, but like, at the same time, yeah, I don't know if I'd ever say no to a kid, because I've just learned, like we've talked about, love multiplies, it never depletes.
I mean, but I wouldn't either, though. Like, if somebody called me or like,
but would anybody?
I'm just saying, like, I would love to have another baby. I do not want to have another pregnancy.
You don't even have this conversation with me, because you were sitting with you have family who have adopted.
I know, but I also don't want, like, because I've seen the stress and like how hard the adoption process is. I don't necessarily want that either. You know, like,
you're like, I just don't want to be like any of the
I think
hardship that comes. Adding to your family is hard. It's fucking
it's
hard.
so hard. And honestly, okay, so I guess that speaks to where I'm at in my life right now. Is I feel like life is pretty hard right now, and like it's not the right time, but maybe there will be a right time.
Also, I think the thing with pregnancy and what people need to understand, I think, in terms of like adding to a family, even if it's not through pregnancy, but pregnancy specifically, is you are committing to the 9 months pregnancy, but then like at least I really think it was like 2 years of postpartum, like hormones. Like, it was like a 3-year process to feel normal again after my pregnancy.
I feel like I just started feeling normal,
Yeah.
and it's been almost 6 years.
It's like a commitment. It is a commitment, and it's not like it's not like all rainbows and butterflies. So you going into it, like, you're committing to such a long marathon of like not the easiest of
not
times.
feeling quite yourself.
Oh my gosh, like right now, Adam and I we're on easy straight. We feel like we've gotten it. We've like gotten our sex life back. We're like having fun together. I feel like I love him again. But when I was in that bubble of post-pregnancy, I remember I just like hated him. I was so annoyed with him all the time. So it's like you're also committing to that. Like, there's going to be some valleys.
Turbulence,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so we'll put the question out there. We need feedback on this one, because I think that Sallie probably doesn't need convincing. I think she's already decided.
No, I think I want to remind people.
She wants reassurance.
No, but I also want to remind people today, because I need to remind myself of this, is to lead with faith over fear. You need to like I know some people are like really like book smart or really logical thinking, and they're like, but you need to think of this and this and this and this and all the logistics. But I have never lived that way, and to like do that would be so
well. They say
for
too,
me.
like, if you do that, you're actually manifesting the negative.
No, I have a lot of criticism to people who live like that, but I have been living like that.
Yeah. So all right, well,
live in faith and not in fear, and not like in a religious way if you're not religious, but like live in, I guess, excitement rather than fear.
I think faith just means that you believe things are going to work out,
and they're going to work out however they're supposed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like I talked the whole time and Katie didn't barely get a word in.
No, I feel like I talked enough. I knew I wasn't going to have much to say on this conversation, because I think that you know what you want, and like
I think I'm going to replay this back, and it's going to be me convincing myself.
Yeah, totally. I remember, so like this, we're wrapping it up, but I remember a therapist told me, I used to go to therapy a long time ago when I was married, and I was pregnant too. And I'd talk about all the things I was afraid of with being pregnant and all the problems I was having in my marriage. And I'd be like, I just don't know if we should be together. And she'd always say to me, Katie, you already know the answer. You just have to admit it to yourself. And I just feel like that always like stuck in my head. And now whenever I'm like going back and forth or being wishy-washy out loud, I already know.
That's so okay. So that actually brings tears to my eyes. I woke up this morning and you know when you're like kind of dreaming, but you're waking up.
Yeah.
And I had a flash in front of me, and it was the number 666.
Oh.
It was in certain font. But anyway, 666 isn't supposed to be a positive number. So naturally.
But angel numbers are all positive.
Yeah, so I woke up and I Googled it right away, like, what does 666 mean? And it said to not lead with fear.
Oh, there you go.
And that felt like
I've been getting a lot of 444 messages.
What does that mean?
I haven't looked at. I think it means stability. I'm almost positive it's that, but like I'm not actually. It's a message from your angels, of course, but like I keep seeing it everywhere.
You need to look that up.
Yeah.
Because 555 is big change.
I was
777 is like lucky and money, I think.
Like a year ago, everything was 555. And whenever I talk to my partner, it's always like the clock's always 555.
See, and I don't get a lot of 555.
I get a lot of 555.
I think I get a lot of 444s, but I never get 666. But I saw it this morning as I was waking up, like in a dream.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. I don't think I've ever gotten 666. That's why I was scared. I was like, oh my God. And then it said, don't lead with
I
fear.
do think so. If people are interested, I'd love to do an episode on dreams because I've been logging all my dreams for the last month, and I think that would be really fun.
That would be so fun.
So if you start logging yours,
that would be really fun.
And then because we dream every night.
Yeah.
So
I need to stop dreaming like with people from the past. It's messing with my brain.
But log it and we'll start to look at patterns.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Well, everybody, what should be our mental note is to lead with faith over fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Listen to your intuition. Don't let that fear kick in. Make that decision before the fear kicks in. We love you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. It's Sallie. We're going to leave our story there for today and pick up next week on Twin Study After Dark. If you've enjoyed our podcast today, please rate, review, and subscribe. We'll meet again next week for more Twin Studies.